Welcome to episode 59 of the RXP podcast, where three working professionals talk about the video games, movies, and TV shows they love to enjoy in their free time. I'm your host, Alex, and joining me today, as always, are my co-hosts, Tiffany.
Hello, hello.
And Matt.
What's going on?
And for today's episode, we're going to be talking about movie/TV show actors that appear in video games. So, you know, the fact that these video game developers, these companies, big name publishers are willing to spend the big bucks to bring in and hire these big name actors to be included in their video games, whether it's just the voice or the voice and their likeness. You know, it's usually a combination or one or the other. But before we get to the main topic, we're going to start off with our variety game segment. As always, you know, it's been a while since we last did this. You know, over the holidays, we kind of had a bunch of themed episodes go up, but we're bringing it back. And as a recap for our running tally for the year, just to remind you viewers, I'm in the lead with 4 points, and Matt and Tiffany are both tied for second place, as in first loser, with 1 point each.
Nice. I forgot I was even on the board. This is a plus.
Yeah, you're right there.
I'm surprised. About myself, not you.
Oh, I was like, dang, okay.
Yeah, no.
Wow, there's already
New
some
year,
shade
same
being thrown.
Tiffany.
Yeah.
Oh,
Welcome
dang.
to 2022. All right, so for today's game, I'm calling it Who's the Star? And so for this game, I have picked 5 video games. And for each of these 5 video games, I have listed 3 actors. And for my co-hosts here, you know, when it's their turn, they're going to pick a number between 1 through 5. So these aren't in any particular order. I've randomized them, so that's up to you guys to pick one. I'll tell you the name of the game, and I'll list 3 actors. You have to tell me which of the actors appeared in the game. Whether or not...
Okay, so multiple choice.
Yes. So whether or not
Nice.
it's just their voice or their voice and their likeness. So it could be, you know, that far, just the voice. And I'll establish this now. If the first person to guess gets it wrong, do you want to give the second person a chance to steal the point or no? You both have to agree on this. So basically, give the second person a 50-50. No?
It's up to Tiffany. I'll let Tiffany decide.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, sure.
New year, new me.
All right, that seems to be the motif. Let's see if this holds up for the rest of the year. All right, so based on the score, since Matt was the last one to earn the point, I'm going to give first pick to Tiffany. So pick a number between 1 through 5.
4.
Number 4.
Oh,
okay.
that's my favorite number. Did it on purpose.
So for number 4, we have Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. So specifically Infinite Warfare. I'm going to make that clear now. And for the actors I've listed, we have Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Kevin Spacey, or Kit Harington.
Kevin Spacey.
Tiffany chooses Kevin Spacey. That is incorrect. Matt, since Tiffany said you can have a chance to 50-50 it, which one do you think it is? Do you think it's Dwayne Johnson or Kit Harington?
I feel like we would have heard it if it was The Rock, so I'll say Kit Harington.
That is correct. It is Kit Harington. He played one of the
idea. Had no idea.
antagonists of the game, and both his voice and likeness were in the game. So the character he played was Salen Koch. And I put Kevin Spacey in there as a red herring because Kevin Spacey did appear in a Call of Duty. He appeared in Call of Duty Advanced Warfare.
When did Infinite Bozos come out? Or whatever it's called.
I don't remember the year, but it did come out after Advanced Warfare. So it's more recent than Advanced Warfare.
Okay.
Tiffany, that was a good guess, because Kevin Spacey, I was like, I know he's in a Call of Duty. I just don't know which one, because I have not played either of them.
I've never even heard of the one that Alex said.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the one that actually takes
like,
place in space. Like, there's a bunch of missions, like, in the
I didn't even know there was a space Call of Duty.
Atmosphere of space. Yeah, it's, you know, they're reaching for the stars with that one, so to speak. All right, Matt. Actually, you know what, Tiffany? I'll give you another chance. Since Matt got the point, I'll keep going with the person that ended up not getting the point for the round. So Tiffany, pick
Okay.
another number, 1, 2, 3, or 5.
1.
Number 1.
Solid choice.
For number 1, we have Hitman 2.
Get out of here.
So for Hitman 2, the actors are Daniel Craig, Sean Bean, or Ana de Armas. Which actor appeared in Hitman 2?
This is... I don't know if you threw people in there just because, but I'm going to say Sean Bean.
That is correct. Sean
Yeah.
Bean appeared as a contract in Hitman 2, so basically a DLC mission, as himself. So both like his voice and likeness were in the game, so he played himself. So there you go. It's tied 1 to
That's a good
1.
one.
Yeah. And also, I threw in Daniel Craig and Ana de Armas, obviously.
Because of the new James Bond movie.
The most recent
that's...
James Bond movie, as well as IO Interactive now on contract to make a James Bond game. So,
Okay.
I was trying to give you a red herring there. That might come into play a little bit with some of these questions, so keep an eye out. All right, so it's tied 1 to 1. Matt, pick a number, 2, 3, or 5.
Let's go 3.
All right, number 3, Death Stranding.
Come on.
Which actor appeared in Death Stranding?
There's like 18 of them.
That is true, but only one of them I'll list here appeared. Kristen Bell, Mads Mikkelsen, or Samuel L. Jackson.
I was wondering if you were going to go with Norman Reedus. I was like, oh, okay, I know that one. I think Mads Mikkelsen, wasn't he the bad guy?
Is that
That's my answer.
That's
Yeah.
your answer? That is correct. It is Mads Mikkelsen. He is
Nice.
one of the antagonists in the game. He plays Clifford Unger. Is his
I
character's
can name like
name?
3 other people
Was
that were in that.
Guillermo del Toro? in
Yeah,
that?
Guillermo del Toro was in it, as well as Lea Seydoux.
Jeff Keighley.
Well,
Oh, yeah,
I don't,
Jeff Keighley.
I don't
he was
know.
like
Right, but he was not a big name actor. I'm trying to go with those. So Lindsay Wagner was
Mainstream.
in there. Nicholas Winding Refn was also in it.
wow.
Was it Tommy Lee Jones was in it as well? Right?
Oh, I
is
didn't
he?
know that.
Okay.
Or maybe not Tommy Lee
That
Jones.
does
Cool.
not
Maybe
sound
maybe
familiar.
maybe someone else with the name Tommy. That might be a correction. Never mind. Scratch that from the record. Anyway, all right. So it's 1 to 2. Tiffany, it's now your turn to pick number 2 or number 5.
2.
Number 2, Far Cry 6. Which of these actors appeared in Far Cry 6? Michael Pena, Antonio Banderas, or Giancarlo Esposito?
Giancarlo Esposito.
That is correct. Giancarlo Esposito appeared as the main antagonist in Far Cry 6, Anton Castillo. And with that, we're tied 2 to 2.
Look at that.
So in this case,
I say you name the game, and then we try to name the celeb.
Wait a minute.
Without
I
a
think I
multiple
should
choice.
still get chance. You just got the last point.
Okay. You're right. It's supposed to be New Year, New Me.
all right. So I'll give this question to Matt first. And if he gets it wrong, you'll have a 50-50 to answer afterwards. All right, Matt. Number 5, the one that was not picked, is Dishonored.
I don't want it anymore.
Yeah. So I was like, I didn't know people were in that.
Hey, last year
Okay.
you played Deathloop, also
I
done
thought he was
by
going to say
Arcane
Cyberpunk
Studios.
2077, and then I
Yeah,
was
that
about to
would've been
like,
amazing.
yeah.
So here we go. Dishonored 1. Which of these actors appeared, whether it's voice and or likeness? Susan Sarandon, Rosario Dawson, or Lawrence Fishburne?
Interesting. I don't know what a couple of these look like. Could you say the options again?
Susan Sarandon, Rosario Dawson, or Lawrence Fishburne?
Do you know who Rosario Dawson is, Matt?
No, I don't think I do.
She was night nurse in the Netflix Jessica Jones Daredevil.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
I
and
just
she's
said Daredevil twice. She's also in Serenity. I think she's Ahsoka in The Mandalorian.
mhm. Who's the first person?
Susan Sarandon?
That name sounds really familiar.
Is it because you're young?
Young. I'm really bad with people's names.
She's like a white lady. Isn't she like an older white
That
lady?
narrows it down.
Like
Okay, let me.
And then Lawrence Fishburne was in the first Matrix. He was Morpheus.
Right. I knew who Lawrence Fishburne was.
Oh.
Yeah, Susan Sarandon. I was like, I remembered that name. I just don't know. Let's see. Well, I don't remember any like hype about Dishonored with their cast. I was going to say Rosario Dawson anyway before I even remember who she was, so I'll just go with it and we'll see what happens.
All right, Matt says Rosario Dawson, and that is incorrect.
Wow.
All right,
I'm gonna
Tiffany.
50.
It's the
Oh, God.
50-50. Is it Susan Sarandon or Lawrence Fishburne?
See, I don't know that Alex would pull out Susan Sarandon, like. But is it? I was gonna
Now
go
that
with
I'm not
Lawrence
playing,
Fishburne.
I'm going to look up what she looks like.
I was gonna think it was Lawrence Fishburne, but like, why Alex mentioned Susan
Sarandon.
Sarandon just to like mess with me?
All I'm saying is, right, you heard the other questions, so I was trying to put maybe a slight red herring in there to each answer.
Okay, I'm just gonna go Lawrence Fishburne.
Tiffany says Lawrence Fishburne, and that is incorrect. The answer
my God.
is Susan
Wow.
Sarandon.
I should have gone with Susan Sarandon then. I was like, no way Alex just came up with Susan Sarandon.
Susan
But I
Sarandon did the voice for the character Granny Rags,
Granny Rags. Interesting.
who's also
Okay.
an older white lady in Dishonored, so I guess that description matches there. I put
Yeah.
in Rosario Dawson as a red herring because Rosario Dawson was actually a character in Dishonored 2.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I definitely know this person's face, and I've seen her in
Same.
1,000 different things. She's one of those actors or actresses I would put in that category of, yes, I recognize her. If I saw her in the streets, I would be like, you're famous, but I would never know your name.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay, cool. Well, excellent.
So now
0
that,
points all around.
yeah,
High five.
now that
Yeah.
leaves us in a dilemma where it's still 2-2. So on the fly, I'm gonna look up a game here.
Okay.
And for my co-hosts here, I'm going to present them the game, and I'm going to actually do what Tiffany suggested. I'm going to present the game, and then my co-hosts here are going to have to guess actors that appear in the game.
Okay, don't say Fortnite, because like there's like 8 million of them.
You know, I recently started
Were
playing
you gonna go with
Fortnite.
Fortnite, Alex? Alex is just looking at me.
So
Were you gonna do Fortnite?
You two continue to fill in the time while I figure out a game.
He was gonna
Were
do
you
Fortnite.
about to say Fortnite? Oh my
Were you about to
gosh.
say Fortnite, Alex? Because I can win right now. I can name 2 people in Fortnite that are famous people.
But really? Can you?
Yeah,
Okay.
Dwayne the Rock Johnson and Zendaya.
Oh, yeah. Which technically she's supposed to be the character from Spider-Man.
Oh, was she? I thought it was literally
Yeah.
just
No.
Zendaya.
I
And
think
Ariana Grande
Yeah.
is in there too.
Yeah. Man, Fortnite is crazy. You know, I actually started playing Fortnite for the first time. This entire time it's been happening.
When?
Back when right after New Year's.
Okay.
Yasser was playing it a ton, and I was like, you know what? I kind of want to give it a try. And he's like, you shouldn't. It's like it's tough to get on, like just like start up from no one. And I was like, okay, cool. The next day, he's like, you know what? I take it all back. You should definitely give it a try. And like we played it. It was a lot of fun. Like we were playing duos. And like I have some first person shooter, or I guess it's more like third person shooter experience. But yeah. It's pretty fun. I see where the hype is. It's
you like
definitely
building?
overwhelming. Oh, it's so tough. Like that's the biggest thing. I feel like that's when you can tell that someone is good at the game versus me. Is like you get into a firefight and the dude starts building. I'm like, well, I'm gonna
He's
die.
gone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just
You're like,
like
I'm gonna-
he's going. this dude's going to kill me. You know, like, like there's no way.
You're like, he's disappeared. He's like, he was right there. Now
he was
he's
right
gone.
there, and now he's going to kill me. This is great.
Yeah.
Oh man, but yeah. But yeah.
Alex, were you actually going to choose Fortnite?
Okay, I'm changing the tiebreaker round here. So,
Okay.
For my co-host here, for this actor, I'm going to name an actor, and if you can guess
the game.
which games they've appeared in, whoever can guess more of them correct will earn the point and break the tie.
Okay.
So for the actor, and this is based on a website that I do not know the credentials of, but I'm going with it. It's mobygames.com, so I'm just going to assume that this is right enough.
Moby
Okay.
Games.
Which games
The
has
white whale of
Sam
all
Jackson
websites.
appeared in? Samuel L. Jackson. Which games has he voiced and or appeared in?
Oh, Lord. I don't think I could even name one.
Oh,
I really...
Is he a common voice actor? Samuel L. Jackson?
He has several games under his citation here, whether it's just the voice and or voice and likeness.
Is there a Nick Fury video game?
I'm going to say that there's some Matrix game. He's in a Matrix game. That's not him. That's Lawrence
That's probably...
Fishburne. No.
Oh.
I messed up. Fight Club game? Is there a Fight Club game?
All right. Because it seems like my co-hosts here are struggling, whoever can name a game first will gain the point and break the tie.
Okay. Of
So
Samuel
talk
L.
it
Jackson
out.
games.
Yeah, talk it out. You know?
So you said... I could see... Like, honestly, I could see something like licensed him doing. But...
Was he in Fortnite?
No.
Oh,
That would've
okay.
been
Well,
hilarious.
he had to check. Alex had to check.
He did. He was like, let me check Moby Games.
Dishonored 2?
No.
Is it Sony? Matt, this is hard. I don't know. He was big. I mean,
I'd say for the majority of these, think about what he's done on the silver screen and then apply that to things
well,
that
that's
might
what I'm
appear in the video
saying.
game
Marvel's
space.
Avengers?
No. He was not in Marvel's Avengers.
Bad Boys. A Bad Boys game.
No.
I don't. A Fight Club game.
Maybe like a... I don't know. Like, I could see him in something like open world, like not Crackdown, because that was the big guy,
Terry Crews.
Terry Crews, but maybe something else like that.
Rage. Was he in Rage too?
No.
Was he in like Saints Row?
We Happy Few.
No. Top both of
Go-
those.
Like Grand Theft Auto?
GTA. Just like stroking out.
He was in
San
a
Andreas?
Grand Theft Auto. That is correct,
4?
Matt. Yes, he was in Grand Theft Auto San Andreas.
Okay.
What?
So with that,
Okay.
he played Officer Frank Tenpenny.
Is that a very famous person in that game?
I'm not sure, but he played the voice of the character. So there
But
you go,
seriously, though,
Matt.
Alex, were you originally going to say Fortnite though? Can you just admit to
No,
me whether or not
I
you-
didn't have a game in mind, to
Oh,
be
okay.
honest.
Oh, okay.
But
Okay.
he was also in stuff like Lego Marvel Avengers. He was a voice.
Oh, you're
He was
right.
a voice in a Lego
No.
game?
No, Matt, the Lego Marvel Avengers one literally just ripped audio from all the movies. Like they took the audio from the movies and put it in the. I should have known that because they literally took the movie audio and instead of the, a lot of the older Lego games were like they use just sound effects like
Yeah, mumbles.
Yeah, but they took audio out of that one.
Did you see that with the Skywalker Saga that is coming out this year?
Yeah, I did.
They
see that.
have like a mumble mode where you can
Yeah.
put it back to that where it's like brr, 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 where it's like I'm your father. It's like brr, 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 and it's like hilarious. I will never play a Lego game that doesn't have a mumble mode like that.
Yeah, so I guess
that should be standard.
Marvel Avengers is off your list then.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Was there other like Disney properties that he was on? Like
He
as
was
Nick Fury?
also several voices in the Disney Infinity games. So if you just said Disney Infinity,
I
Was
forgot
he
about
taken that.
Frozone? Frozen.
He was also in the Incredibles video game,
Dang it.
and he was in the Afro Samurai video game.
Okay.
And also, you were very close, Matt. You talked about Nick Fury. He was in the Iron Man 2 video game.
Really?
Oh.
Okay.
But Matt, you got there. Grand
Interesting.
Theft Auto San Andreas. That's all it took. So Matt goes up plus 1 point on the board to 2. So
Congratulations, you deserved it. You earned it.
I don't know if either of us deserved it, but it was a really fun game. That was really good, Alex.
So with that, to recap, I'm in the lead with 4 points. Matt
my
has
gosh.
taken
We
second
don't-
place with 2 points, and Tiffany's trailing in third with 1 point.
Excellent.
So with that, we're gonna move on finally to the main topic.
That took 20 minutes.
I thought that was the
Mister,
main
I don't
topic.
think this is going to take that long.
Who knows? Anyway, so main topic, actors in video games. So I'm just gonna open it up to my co-hosts here. This is an open discussion for this part. Do you like it? Do you not like it? Like, what's your thoughts generally on having like named actors in video games, whether it's just the voice or voice plus likeness?
I like it if there's history involved. Like, I'm not going to lie, if Insomniac announces that Hugh Jackman is voicing Wolverine in their game, I'd be all about it. Like, I'd be like, yes, please. I would be pretty excited about that. Otherwise, it's not really a wow factor to me. You know, if they get an actor to be in a video game, I think it's cool. I think it enhances the experience. Like Keanu Reeves in Cyberpunk, he's a great actor. And if they use his like likeness well, or the plot line's really interesting, then I think that's really cool. Because again, like, it's hard to say that they're quote unquote acting unless they're literally mocapping everything. But even then, it's very digitized. So, you know, we're still years away from them catching the nuances of a walk or a facial twitch or like an eyebrow raise or something. I don't know. Like, I think we're still a ways away from that. So, you know, getting an actor that is really good at conveying their like body language is hard. But I think that a lot of voice actors are very talented. And I think that giving more voice actors, I guess, more opportunities, I think would be really good. Because I've heard that it's hard for voice actors to transition to like real, or not, I don't want to say real media, but like visual media with like TV show and movies. So even though a lot of them can do a lot with their voice, but I have yet to see a actor in a video game that I thought was extremely superfluous. Like, I was like, oh god, why did they like waste money on that and not spend the money on something, on like making the tree look better or something? You know what I mean? Like, I haven't had that experience.
Yeah, I think it's not something that I gravitate towards. I think sometimes when a big studio, or even a small studio, I feel like mostly it comes from big studios though, when they say, hey, we have this actor, or maybe it just gets into the woodwork, some people get really excited. I really don't, because it may enhance the experience, but it's not something I gravitate towards. But things that I was a big fan of Burn Notice growing up, like on USA, and Bruce Campbell, who's in it, who's also like Ash vs. the Evil Dead, which he's a licensed character in Dead by Daylight, so he voices Ash in the video game form, but also when I was playing one of my favorite games of all time, which is actually Spider-Man 2 on the GameCube, I was like, man, this narrator is great. Like, it was a very like break the fourth wall. He's like, hey, Spidey, like, if you want to jump on walls, like, go ahead. And it was Bruce Campbell. Like, they had the actor be the voice actor, and it was ridiculous, but it works so well. And honestly, there's no narration that's quite as effective as that. Like, there was a shock value of like, I know that voice, and I don't know what it is. But I'm a kid, so I'm not like thinking, oh, I need to go look up online, and if my mom lets me on the computer and figure out who does this, it's just one of those kind of familiar voices that really, I feel like, elevated the experience. But yeah, it's not something I gravitate towards, but it can be really effective when done well.
Yeah, I think for me, I'm like full stop. I'd rather them not be in it, at least visually. So something like with Cyberpunk 2077, right? As Tiffany mentioned, with Keanu Reeves being in that, while it fits as a acting role for him. I think he did a very good job, as Johnny Silverhand in Cyberpunk 2077. I prefer if they didn't use his likeness and maybe just use the voice or maybe even just the mocap motions, because that's something you said, right? A lot of actors, whether or not how good they are, have different ways they can convey how well they can act. And so there are the little idiosyncrasies of things, as she mentioned, right? How their posture is, their facial expressions. And I feel like we're not at the level of getting that fine granularity of capturing all of that detail like in mocap and displaying it within a game world. And on the side too, I feel like whenever you include an actor and how they look in something, I feel like it dates the game, right? Because obviously, most actors don't have like a lifetime career of being popular, right? As sad as it is to say, a lot of actors are maybe known for one character, and that's all they're probably known for the rest of their life. And so it's kind of hard for me to say, hey, you got this one actor because at the time he was popular for something, but then he was never relevant again. And so it's kind of weird to be like, oh, why did they pick that actor to be this character? And then later you look it up and they're like, oh, at the time the game was in development, they were super popular, so that's why we picked him up. And I feel like maybe Keanu in Cyberpunk is kind of like that, right? We're kind of having that renaissance with him. Most obviously John Wick was very popular at the time, so that might have been a co-factor in why he was brought onto the project, and not necessarily that he was the best fit. But in terms of just actors in general, it's weird because even when they are there, as Matt kind of leaned towards, it doesn't draw me in anymore, even if they are there. And just to go over some popular examples or notable examples from even the past year, right? So beginning with Cyberpunk and Keanu. Last year we had 12 Minutes, and that had Daisy Ridley, James McAvoy, and William Dafoe in it. And really, despite how well those people might be as actors and also even as voice actors, that game was not good. It was not well written. I don't think the gameplay was that interesting. And so no matter how well they acted, it didn't really matter that they had a star-studded cast because they couldn't really bring it from what the game is, right? And like, to me, that's where I want to get to, then kind of the crux of it. What matters most is that the game plays well, and on top of that, having good acting and good story is just the extra trimmings. And so with something like that, where even no matter how well Daisy Ridley and James McAvoy put on English accents or American accents, so to speak, the game just wasn't good enough to support their acting. So in those cases, I don't think it's even enough there to bring it back. And part of the inspiration for this topic, listeners, was recently for Horizon Forbidden West, Sony revealed that Carrie-Anne Moss and Angela Bassett were casted to be characters in the game. And it's so far confirmed that Carrie-Anne Moss, both her voice and likeness, are in the game. And it's unconfirmed whether or not Angela Bassett's likeness will be in the game or if it's just her voice, because they didn't disclose the extent of her involvement in the game. But it's things like that where I don't mind them being in the game, but especially for Carrie-Anne Moss's character, I really don't like that they used how she looked. Because not to say that I don't think she looks good, for all of these people, it's not saying that they're bad looking people, I think because video games are a creative medium, it's like writing any sort of character for anything visual or even just books, where you have the flexibility to make a character look like anything you want. And so I don't think you should try to make it look like real people, because I think that kind of reduces the creativity of the project. It's like, this is especially in Horizon, it's a post-apocalyptic world. And so even in the setting of it, Carrie-Anne Moss is not alive. So why is she here in this world, in this game, right? Because this takes place in the year like 3000. But also, I think they could get more creative with just how characters look, right? It's like when you look at the main character in that game, Aloy, she's not based on anybody. Like, she's kind of like an amalgamation of several, I think, different sources of inspiration for what a character can look like. And I think that makes for a more interesting character than just copying and pasting, oh, here's blank big name actor, let's put him in the game, right? Because I think as we're seeing it, and that's not for this topic, but I'll just briefly mention it, that when games get adapted to movies, that's where we can have the actors look like the characters, right? And so we can go reverse with that to say, hey, it's Tom Holland who's portraying a young Nathan Drake in the upcoming Uncharted movie. That's what he might look like, but that's fine because that's for the silver screen. But I think in the game, the fact that Nathan Drake has its own look is much more interesting to me.
Mm-hmm. I feel like, though, some of these games that we're talking about are turning more and more of like a narrative experience where it's almost like cinema that you could play. And so it's almost like when they do look like an actor or actress, I see them kind of in the same light of an actor or an actress playing just someone new. The problem is when they're a very like specific method actor where they have one persona that they're known for, it's hard to take them away. Like, no matter how many movies Daniel Radcliffe will be in, he will be Harry Potter. You know, like, these are just things that we have come, you know, to see. So, like, I see where you're coming from, but for me, I guess I just see it as just like another extension of like an actor, you know, being all these different people, but still the same person all in one.
Yeah, I don't mind that their likenesses are used. Like, I'm pretty sure, like, Matt, you recently started Detroit Become Human.
Mm-hmm.
Almost all of the main characters, I think, are basically their voice actors. Right?
Yeah. I don't know.
Well, no. Alex isn't.
I don't know because I never played the game. So.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. I didn't know if anyone else saw articles or anything, but I'm like almost positive that the three main characters in Detroit Become Human were very close to their voice actors. And listeners, please, you know, feel free to write in and tell me that I'm wrong, if I'm wrong. But yeah, so I don't mind that their likenesses are used. I do. You have an interesting perspective though, Alex, about, you know, it's a creative license. And so making someone look maybe a particular way to even or rather inject more diversity into it would be really nice. You know, the fact that they have Angela Bassett in Forbidden West sounds really cool. She was like really like had a very regal presence in Black Panther. So I'm pretty interested to see her portrayal in the game. You know, the fact that Giancarlo Esposito was in Far Cry 6, like, I thought that was all right. I wasn't like, gosh, what's he doing here? But, you know, I think it helps maybe alleviate a little bit of burden for game developers to like use a likeness that already exists, and then they can just mocap that. But yeah, it's interesting that I really don't get pulled into video games with particular actors like I do movies and TV shows. Like, I will go out of my way to try to watch every Hugh Jackman film. I made it my mission when I was younger to watch every Heath Ledger film. But like I said, I guess if Hugh Jackman showed up in a video game, I don't know that I would go out of my way to like experience that video game. I wonder if it's partially a time commitment issue for me too, because like a game is inherently longer than a movie.
Yeah. And I did look up that Detroit Become Human. You're completely right. All of these characters look exactly like their voice actors. So, pretty cool. One thing I'll say, because you guys have both talked about Keanu Reeves, and that's someone I kind of wanted to talk about. I think I wasn't a huge fan of Keanu Reeves in Cyberpunk. I think a part of that was I thought that he was very much overacting, because it's almost like reading the room. It's like when you get a professional actor that plays with people less than them, you can definitely tell the professional actor. Not to say everybody else in Cyberpunk was trash. I'm just saying that for the world around him, it wasn't built well to be in the same presence. In light of that, one of the best, very recent things for me is that Lance Reddick plays in so many different video games. But one that shared his likeness was Horizon New Dawn. Wait, Horizon Zero Dawn. Dang it. I'm going to mess that up for the rest of my life. Horizon Zero Dawn, he played with his likeness, which he was made to look like he lived there, which was really cool. But two, I thought he was tremendous. I think he's a tremendous actor, and I think that he played his part really well. And the thing was, it was fine because he was playing opposite of Ashley Birch, who is honestly one of the best voice actors, I think, in gaming right now. I think that she is very strong. She was a very strong female lead playing Aloy, and I think that because they were both very strong characters, that it worked really, really well. While Keanu Reeves being such a strong character among people that did fine, they did just great compared to, like, looking back at Witcher 3, they fit in perfectly there because I thought it was good, it was great. But then when you bring Keanu Reeves, it's almost like what you were talking about, Tiffany, like almost like superfluous. It was like almost too much, and it was like, all right, Keanu, like, take it easy, Johnny Silverhand, like, let the rest of Night City sleep, you know? But I don't know. I think having a couple people to really lift up the story goes a long, long way.
Sure. So you mentioned Lance Reddick for Silence in Horizon Zero Dawn. For both of you, are there any other like actors that you remember, maybe that you noted to like play certain characters from games? Or maybe there isn't. Like, is it that forgettable that even if it was a big name actor, you don't remember?
I don't think I've actually ever played a video game with a big name actor unless you count Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck. And like, you know what I mean? Like those iconic voices.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess in Kingdom Hearts, you have Haley Joel Osment playing Sora. So if you want to count that.
Okay, but Sora looked nothing like Haley Joel Osment.
Right, but at least from a voice perspective. That I guess that's also what I'm including. Not just like likeness, but also just big name actors doing voices in games.
Oh, that's true. And there was Jesse McCartney who like voiced Roxas, or did he voice Roxas, or was he voicing?
Now we're gonna be out of this, fake fans, for not knowing.
I know. Oh gosh.
See, but like for that, what sticks out to me is Kingdom Hearts 2, where Johnny Depp's likeness was like very stark and like almost a little bit out of place. Like the whole Pirates of the Caribbean,
and
was,
Keira
like,
Knightley,
recast.
Orlando Bloom.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true. That's
But
true.
at the same time, it's like it's the biggest fan service to Disney properties, so it made sense that they were there. But it was weird seeing realistic people next to this dude, this little kid that has like size 30 feet. You know what I mean? Like having them next to each other was ridiculous.
But also, now that you mention it, they didn't get their actual voices to voice.
No, yeah, I don't think so. Mm-mm.
So that's also kind of weird that they paid them for their likeness, they put them in the game, and then they couldn't, I guess, pay them enough to voice their own characters. I don't like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, either, I'm curious if
I guess it's because for Pirates, there's no other version of Pirates characters. Like, no one else has been a, Jack Sparrow. So you can't make them look different, right? Because then it's not Jack Sparrow.
Yeah.
But I guess, like,
I'm wondering if it was like a licensing thing where Disney owned the rights to their image, but then they couldn't do anything with they couldn't make Johnny Depp do a bunch of voice lines. So then it was like almost Johnny Depp is probably expensive, like real expensive, and they're probably like, we want to make a 3. We want to make a Kingdom Hearts 3 one day.
Right. Yeah, I guess that's an interesting, because I obviously know like scheduling, contractual stuff, and also like a time commitment. If like recording voice lines, like maybe you have to commit to like a 3-hour session or something, and they're like, no, that's too much or whatever. So I can understand that being a barrier, but I inherently do not like that. Like I think I have made comments before where I'm like, wow, this is like budget Orlando Bloom or whatever. You know what I mean? like when I hear their voices and it's not them. I think Haley Joel Osment really did very well as Sora. I don't know. Like, I feel like if an actor is able to make me believe that he's not himself and he is his own character in terms of voice acting, that's a testament to the voice actor / actor.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought he did great as Sora, and I didn't think that detracted from Sora.
Yeah, I think one thing that comes to mind that I really enjoy is when licensed, like you're saying, licensed kind of matches what I know is like my headcanon. Like playing the Lord of the Rings games back in the day, like the original trilogy Lord of the Rings games that you could play as Gandalf and you could play as Legolas. Like they had all of like they had Ian McKellen, they had Christopher Lee, they had Elijah Wood, Sean Astin. They had all these actors that voiced their characters that they played in the movies, which was licensed, and I'm glad that they did it. And to me, I feel like it's less risk in that way, but it almost kind of makes me think, are we missing out on some like really good performances because people aren't going beyond and making their own kind of canon? Because thinking about this past year with Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, if we had Guardians of the Galaxy cast be the Guardians of the Galaxy, like I feel like it would be weird because they weren't the same Guardians. You know what I mean? Like
That's fair.
I'm glad that there are licensing, but they give the license to other people to make their own stories and like their own iterations. So I enjoy loving the experience of Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. That cast is great. Do I know who any of them are? No. But I enjoyed the ride. It was the best narrative of the year for a huge reason. Like all three of us loved it. And so I wonder how much I would rather see that, I think, than them spend money to get a bunch of big name actors just to do what we know.
I think it's an interesting perspective in the sense I feel like we know that superhero characters in particular have like 18,000 iterations, and there's never just like one voice for it or one
Yeah.
actor. Because like, there's TV shows and movies and games, and I just feel like I'm just more accepting of that versus like, you're right, Alex, Johnny Depp is Jack Sparrow. There's literally have not been another Jack Sparrow. There probably will be another Jack Sparrow in our lifetime as like a reboot in like 20 years. But for now, it's literally Johnny Depp. And so anyone trying to do that and is not Johnny Depp is jarring.
It's funny you mentioned Lord of the Rings, Matt, because Elijah Wood actually did the voice for Spyro in the remade Spyro trilogy.
Wow. Okay.
And that was one of those moments where I didn't notice when I first played it, but obviously looking at the credits, he's there. And it does lead you to that side of, wow, I never would have realized that this was the actor that voiced his character. But then thinking back on it and kind of like mentally retroactively thinking about, oh, it's him saying these things. It just fits so well that I was further impressed by it, right? Because obviously, Elijah Wood having that acting career and everything else he's done in his career, but specifically for that, it's not something I expected out of him as an actor. So it's really fun to see like when actors are also taking these kind of random jobs or acting roles, and it's like Elijah Wood previously had no connection to Spyro. Maybe he played him as a kid, but besides that, right, there's no actual linking. So when they actually got around to remaking the games and they're like, hey, do you maybe he auditioned or maybe his agent contacted him and said, do you want to do the voice for this, they're reaching out to you. It's really interesting to see those other sides of actors that might even just portray a different part of themselves in a game format because they're just lending their voice, right? Because obviously Elijah Wood does not look like a purple dragon. So,
True.
I think there's a lot of opportunities there where if they do get a named kind of on-screen actor to do voice acting roles for games, I'd rather be it like that so that the actor can maybe have different things, right? So they're not just acting like themselves, but in a video game. And I think that might just at least give them also more creative freedom to be different, to at least show a different side of them, to say, I can never run around on four limbs and fly through the air, but in this game I can, and I can act like I am, at least through my voice. And so that's kind of more fun, at least, to do it that way, rather than being like, hey, I'm Keanu, I'm from Bill and Ted, The Matrix, and John Wick, now I'm Johnny Silverhand, who's like basically the same as those other characters.
Yeah, exactly.
But nonetheless. All right. So I think that brings us kind of to the final part. Are there any actors right now that you're into that you would want to see in a game? So not necessarily something that has been announced or maybe a particular game in mind, but just actors that you think could do well in a game? in any capacity, whether it's voice or voice and likeness?
I think when I think about really great voices, I think like Idris Elba. Like I think that dude, he could do anything. He honestly
I mean,
could.
he's
Like
gonna be Knuckles.
That's true. That's true in the movie. But like I'm thinking even for a performance as great as like Kratos in God of War, I could see him almost like that brooding force behind someone. Like I could see him in Witcher 4. You know, like when they eventually do Witcher 4 and like having some companion that we have no basis for. Like I could see him in that atmosphere because of like thinking about his when he was playing in Thor, and just basically anything that he's ever been in is fantastic. One, I hope that he becomes the next James Bond. That's beyond this because that's, you know, live action. But I think that he has definitely proved himself to be intriguing, and I think that he would naturally go well doing voice acting. So make it happen.
I don't have any strong opinions.
So no one you're dying to see in a game?
No.
No actors are hot on? Okay, well.
I mean, part of my issue is that it takes like 7 years for a game to come out, and like I'm all about getting on the hype train and like just nonstop hype, and so like to be on the hype train for that long just takes too much energy out of me. You know, there's a reason why Pokemon doesn't have any voice acting.
That's good. That's a good point.
They're
Because
just trying to-
sometimes when you play the game and then the music just drops in the middle of a fight, but it's a concert and so people are bobbing but there's no music, because that's what happened in Pokemon Sword.
Yeah. Yeah.
I could also see, like, I enjoy when comedians have voice acting. I just think it's hilarious. Like Aziz Ansari, I could totally see Aziz as like that sidekick character, like
Jack and Daxter.
like, yeah, I was about to say like Daxter, like that kind of person, like almost like Kevin Hart, you know, that person that would just be like talking all the time and like doing all these little quips, and then you're like not anything really important, but just like brings a lot of character and personality. I could definitely see something like that. But honestly, I just don't know how many of them are being asked to do this, because most of the people that I'm thinking about are going to be a lot of money to bring in Kevin Hart. You know, Kevin Hart gets all these licensing deals, and the dude is rolling in the cash. So good luck. So I think for most of that, it's going to be voice actors. So I don't know. I don't know if any of that will ever happen.
I think for me right now, I also only have, I guess, one big actor that I would like to see, and that is Haley Steinfeld. You know, I'm a big fan of hers.
Oh my gosh.
She's recently in the Disney Plus show Hawkeye. And I think, you know, she also did the voice of Vi in Arcane. And I think she's definitely shown voice acting talent there. And I think, you know, you can make a game with her. I think she could do a good job. Not to say I don't have a particular game in mind, but definitely I think her talents both on screen and off screen have already been proven. So I think definitely those can be brought into the gaming sphere as well. So, you know, please, anyone out there, go look her up, go check her out. She already has gaming related things with Arcane, so maybe she'd be willing to, you know, do some
I think
project.
her voice would go well with a strong female character that would need some personality, like Recore. Recore was a great game, but honestly, it just lacked a lot of personality. And I think that she's a person that would bring personality to kind of like a lifeless character that's interesting. The world was so interesting and the mechanics were so interesting, but I was so bored to tears by the main character. I feel like that's where Haley Steinfeld could like really step in.
Okay, and with that brings us to the end of episode 59. So, listeners, write in and let us know if, like, what actors, like, do you like actors in games? Do you not like actors in games? Let us know on Twitter at RXP_podcast or on Gmail, rxp.podcast@gmail.com, or leave a comment down below on the YouTube version of this video. And if you're on YouTube, remember to like and subscribe. Big shout out to Grandmaster Doug for providing the music for the pod. And with that, until next time, take care.
That's my favorite number.
I don't have any strong opinions.